Hello, 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 good people. Hi, this is Ifama Odunlami, immigration attorney from the Odunlami law firm. I am so excited to chat with you guys today, and I'm going to let some people come in and then we'll get started. I hope everyone is doing great today. And so I have a really special topic dedicated to a group of special people that is young people. And I want to talk about how we can get young people green cards. Now, you guys know that once you come into the United States, a lot of young people come in here, their parents bring them here, or, they come in here to go to school, and then, they have nobody to support them here or whatever. And you know that once that person is not able to get legal status, it's almost like they have no future, because a young person without status cannot get a driver's license in many states, it's difficult for them to get into college because of the expense. And basically, the sad thing about this is the fact that this young person's ability is being stunted because of circumstances beyond their control. So that's why I want to talk about this pathway for young people to get a green card, because the youth is our future. Children who are skilled, who cannot, proceed because they're in the United States and they have no legal status. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about special immigrant juvenile status. So for those who are just signing in for the first time, and by the way, please let me know where you're signing in from. My name is Ifama Odunlami. I am an immigration attorney from the Odunlami law firm. We're a law firm in New Jersey, but we serve clients in all 50 states of the United States because immigration is federal law. So if you need our assistance, we primarily do family-based, humanitarian-based, such as VAWA, U visa, SIJS, which is what I'm going to talk about today. SIJS is also a humanitarian pathway to a green card. So our number is 973-993-1900 for those on Facebook, and YouTube is on the ticker. And for those who are on Instagram, go to my page. You will see my information there. So thank you, Lola Robinson. Thank you for joining us. I almost said Lola because there's a Nigerian name called Lola. Thank you, Lola Robinson. Thank you for joining me. You're from New Jersey. Yay, New Jersey in the house. And Wendy from Atlanta. So, guys, this is a really great topic because SIJS is a pathway that a lot of people don't know about. And it really breaks my heart when I have a consultation with a parent who comes in here looking for a pathway for herself, and then, or himself, or even their child. And then I find out that that child is over the age of 21, which means that there's not much we can do. However, if they had come earlier, that child probably would have qualified for SIJS. So I want to talk about what SIJS is, what the requirements are, and if you know somebody, please forward this video to them, because it's really important that we help young people at the age that they can be helped, so that we can help them, encourage them to go and find their dreams, do what they need to do. So SIJS stands for Special Immigrant Juvenile Status. And SIJS it's a blend of federal and immigration law. It's a really unique creation of Congress. SIJS is designed to help young people who have been abused, abandoned, or neglected by at least one parent. So this is important. It does not have to be both parents. And the abuse does not have to have occurred here in the United States. It could be abroad, maybe when they were in their country, they were younger. The abuse happened there, but they're now here. And, they can get a green card based on what happened to them when they were abroad. Now, SIJS requires that child to be here present in the United States, because sometimes I get people sending me emails from different countries asking if they can apply for SIJS. And no, if you're abroad, you cannot. You have to be present in the United States. So let me go through what SIJS means, and then I want to talk about the scenarios where it could apply. So Special Immigrant Juvenile Status is a pathway to getting a green card and ultimately getting citizenship. Now, like I said, it's a blend of state law and federal law. So on the state law side, you have to have a family court to make certain findings. The court has to make a finding that the minor is unmarried and under the age of 21 in some states, 18 in other states. In my state of New York and New Jersey, the cutoff, the child has to be 21 at the time the petition, at the time it must not have reached their 21st birthday at the time the petition is filed with with USCIS. So what that means is that USCIS must receive the petition before that child turns 21. This is so important. They must receive it, not mailed by, received by. Now, the first stage is the family court stage, where the family court makes a finding that the child is unmarried, under the age of 18 or 21, like I said, depending on the state where the person is from, and then must make a showing that they have either been abused, abandoned, or neglected by at least one parent. And then the fourth, they have to show that there can be no reunification with that parent as a result of the abuse, abandonment, or neglect. Basically, there can't be any reunification. And then the fifth thing they have to show is that it is better for that child to stay here in the United States and not return to their country. And so once the judge makes this findings, which we call, which are contained in the predicate order, then with that order, we're able to file a petition from I-360 with USCIS, right? So now let me discuss the advantages of SIJS first, and then I'll go into, what abused, abandoned, or neglected means, and the fact scenarios where what somebody might qualify. So the advantage of SIJS is, number one, it does not matter how that young person came into the country. It does not matter if they came through the border, if they came with a visa and the visa has expired, or even if they're actually in legal status. We've gotten SIJS petitions approved with green cards for people who came here on an F1 visa, still are on an F1 visa, but we were able to show that they met, the criteria by getting a predicate order from the court. So there's nothing that requires you to be undocumented right now to file for SIJS. You can be legal right now, or you can be undocumented. It really doesn't matter. So the important thing is that the state court has to make those findings that I mentioned, right? So one of the advantages is it doesn't matter how you came into the country. So your unlawful presence is forgiven. Your unauthorized employment, if you've been working without papers, is forgiven under SIJS. It wouldn't be a problem for you to get a green card if you came in without authorization or you worked without authorization. That's not a problem. And it doesn't matter what your parents' legal status is. So SIJS is a self-petition. A minor is able to get a green card without any family member petitioning for them. It's a self-petition based on a humanitarian pathway to a green card. So once you file the SIJS petition, that child can get a work permit once the SIJS is approved. And after a little while, once their priority date is reached, they're able to adjust their status and get a green card. So a couple of years ago, we were able to file the SIJS petition and file the I-485, which is the adjustment of status petition at the same time. And we were having our clients get their green cards within 5 months, 7 months, 9 months. But there's been something called a retrogression, which means that USCIS SIJS petitions are now backed up. So now, if the SIJS petition is approved, which is the first part, is approved, you can apply, the child can apply for a work permit. They can get a work permit, they can get a social security card if they don't have one. And then they have to wait for the wait to get their green card. So they have to wait for the adjustment of status portion of it. So when their priority date is reached, then they can file for the adjustment of status. And as long as there's no criminal issues, they're likely to, that shouldn't be a problem getting the green card. So now, like I said, those are the advantages of getting SIJS, and there's no question with regards to public charge. You know, public charge is an inadmissibility issue that prevents some people from getting a green card. So that's not a problem for SIJS either. So let's talk about the situation in which some people may qualify for SIJS. So say you're a single parent here in the United States with a child. I'll give an example, a mother and her son, and that son is under the age of 21. And I'm going to use, you know, the states who have 21 as their age out. That child is under the age of 21, and that child never had any relationship with their father, never knew the father. That child can qualify for SIJS because that goes to neglect and abandonment, right? Remember the three things you have to prove: that the child was either abused, abandoned, or neglect. So a parent that is not there has abandoned the child. A parent that is not in the child's life has neglected the child because that parent has failed to provide for the child. Because a parent has a duty to provide food, shelter, education, all of that. So if you have a parent who's failing to do those, that's neglect, right? And so another situation, another scenario is if you have a single parent who's single by virtue of the fact that the other parent has passed away, the other parent is deceased. In some states, such as New Jersey and New York, and many other states in the United States, that qualifies as an abandonment because that parent is not living. And so a child who has one parent and the other parent has passed away would qualify for SIJS under that scenario. Now, if you also have a child who, say, came here to the United States, maybe came on an F1 visa and, you know, is here, and all of a sudden the parents have abandoned the child, not paying tuition for them, not communicating with the child, refusing to have anything to do with the child, and the child is just by themselves here, that child may also qualify for SIJS. Those are cases that I want to screen them and ask relevant questions such as, you know, is reunification with that parent possible? What other things have happened, you know? So those are scenarios that that child can get a green card. So so I'm going to shout out to single parents. If you're a single parent with an undocumented child, or this is something that may work for you guys. So call my office 973-993-1900 and let's see if we can help your child. Remember, this is for the child, not for you. Special Immigrant Juvenile Status is a pathway for a minor to get a green card and ultimately become a citizen without having anybody file for them, but based on their experience of being either abused, abandoned, or neglected by one parent. And now remember, that child has to be unmarried, the child has to be under the age of 18, in some states under the age of 21, in other states, and it has to be in the child's best interest to remain in the United States. So hi, let me reach out to a couple of people here. Kamlish Mahachandani says, good afternoon, ma'am. You're very genius. I'm from Bakersfield, California. Thank you so much for joining me, Kamlesh, and thank you for the compliment. So I'm looking to see if there's any questions here, because I can answer a couple of questions before I head out. Instagram is always a little hard for me to read because the prints are so tiny, but I'm going to look through Instagram to see if there's any questions. And if I missed out a question, I apologize. Forgive me. Just put the post there, and I will, try to answer the question on my next live. So I have someone here saying, Endowed Val says, can someone in removal proceedings file for an I-130? How can a person get a work permit? So Endowed Val, that is a really, really great question. So I'm going to answer that question. If you're in removal proceedings and you have an immediate relative, which is a spouse who's a U.S. citizen or green card holder, or a parent who is a U.S. citizen, and you, the person in removal proceedings, you're under the age of 21, or you're a parent who has a U.S. citizen child who's over the age of 21, that immediate relative can file an I-130 for you. Now, that does not remove you from it. That does not get you out of immigration proceedings just by the filing of the I-130. But with an approved I-130, you can get out of immigration proceedings by either filing a request for prosecutorial discretion or appearing before the judge and letting them know that you have a pathway to a green card. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. And how can the person get a work permit? So Endowed Val, now that's a more complex question. The filing of the I-130 does not give you a work permit. However, if you're in immigration court and you have another viable pathway, such as asylum or cancellation of removal, you could get a work permit even though you are in removal proceedings. All right? Okay, and Dalval, I hope that helps. Lighty Bola says, my name is Lighty. I'm living in New York City. Hey, Lighty, nice to meet you. Let's see if I can find some more questions. So Tropical Star says, if I file for citizenship through marriage with you, how long before I'm... Okay, the question is not complete, so I'm not really sure. But you're asking if you file for citizenship through marriage. So you're married to a U.S. citizen, and your marriage is still viable. You can file for citizenship when you've had your green card for 3 years. You can file 90 days before. I think that's what you're asking, but it's not clear because the question, you didn't finish the question. Bilal says, my name is Bilal. I'm from India, going through a lot of crisis. I'm really sorry to hear that, Bilal, and I really hope things get better for you. Let's see, looking through. So Gabby Bills 10 says, which documents do I need in getting LGBT asylum seeker? So Gabby Bills, you need to have evidence. There's a lot of information for asylum seekers. So I would advise you to talk to an attorney. But of course, with any pathway that you're seeking, you have to have some proof of the fact that you've either been, had past persecution, or you have a fear of future persecution from your country. And remember, for asylum, you want to file within 1 year of coming into the United States, unless you qualify for some very limited exceptions. All right, let's see. So looking through, okay, Nilechi says, my friend filed for VAWA in February 2021. It's been over 30 months. She received her prima facie and work authorizations, but she's worried. She also didn't do any psychological evaluation. So Nilechi, you don't necessarily, there's no requirement for psychological evaluation depending on the case. We've gotten green cards and VAWAs approved without any psychological evaluation. So the fact that she didn't do a psychological evaluation does not mean that she's going to be denied. That's not it. If her case, if she made a good showing of the fact that she was abused, and she met all the other requirements for VAWA, she could still get approved. That's not something to be concerned about. It's been over 30 months. Well, VAWA is taking anywhere from 2.5 to 3 years. 3 years is 36 months. So tell her to hang in there and see how it goes. Typically, if they, in a VAWA filing, if they need additional information, or they feel that she hasn't met her burden of proof, they will typically send either a request for evidence or notice of intent to deny. So tell her to hang in there, not to worry too much, okay? Lighty Bola says, I'd love to come to your office. So Lighty, I would say call our office first to see if we can help you before you, and then you have to make it, if we can assist you, then you can make an appointment to come to the office. And the number to call is 973-993-1900. All right, so Kayode Dada says, you don't reply my messages. Kayode, I'm sorry to hear that. Where are you sending the messages to? Because we have staff that goes through our DM, and we have staff that responds to phone calls. So why don't you try to call us, 973-993-1900. And looking through again, I only have like a couple more minutes. So, all right, so let me go back to Facebook. Oh no, I think this is YouTube. Grace Odeyemi says, I have a question, ma'am. I went for an interview with my husband, and actually he's the one filing for me, but for 2 months I haven't heard anything from them. Well, Grace, it's not unusual, quite frankly, to go for an interview and not hear anything from USCIS for months, maybe even years. So, did you go with an attorney? Ask to see if your attorney can, do a check-in, but 2 months is really not a lot of time to not to hear from USCIS after an interview, really. If it's going over a year and a half, 2 years, you really would want to see what the issue is, because typically at that point, USCIS may be doing maybe some fraud investigation or, whatever, but it's not unheard of. So that's why I want to tell you, it's not unheard of at all. Alaji says, good morning, best attorney. I'm always thanking you and your wonderful team. Special thanks to Leanne. You and your team are the best. Odunlami Law Firm is the best in the country. Believe me, guys. Well, thank you so much, Alaji. And I will make sure Lee gets the message. You gave her special thanks. I will send it to her. And thank you for being, for your words of praise. I really appreciate it. And then Omodolagbe Stephen Oladapo says, ma'am, do you have any ideas of processing time? Minors can be scheduled for interview through NVC in Nigeria, both parents and citizens. Omodolagbe, it's anybody's guess. Once the case goes to NVC and is documentarily qualified, then USCIS is just really looking to see. NVC it sends the case to the embassy in the country, in which case is Nigeria, Lagos, or Abuja, and then they schedule it based on their own, how busy they are. I know sometimes it could take up to a year to schedule for an interview. From the time the NVC says it's documentarily qualified, sometimes it takes less. There's really I have no answer to give you, because as with all things immigration, things are so backlogged that it's taking longer and longer to get things done. But you can put in an inquiry with NVC. Go to their public inquiry website and just put in an inquiry asking that question. Maybe that might trigger, some response. Okay. All right, guys, I gotta go because it's 12:59 and I have an appointment at 1 o'clock. But it was a pleasure talking to you guys and chatting with you today. So take care, and I will see you again next week.